Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. We are going to watch a team principals press conference. Let's watch it together.
Welcome everybody to our team principals press conference ahead of the FIA Formula One Bahrain Grand Prix. Just the one session for you today, and joining us left of screen, James Vowles. Then we have Jonathan Wheatley and Andrea Stella. James, why don't we start with you? A quick word on the job you think Luke Browning did in FP1. There was a close call between both of your drivers at one point as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's not on Luke, that's on us. Luke did a brilliant job. I mean, I'm not sure how much you followed it, but fundamentally he's doing a lot of aerodynamic work for us. It's an opportunity to come back to where we were testing before with a car that's slightly different and just make sure we understand what's changed, how it's adapted. And so in that case, Luke really was doing a number of in-out runs, and we only gave him one time lap on the soft. And for his only one lap, I don't think it's a bad effort putting him P13 on the timesheet. So really, really happy with the work he did.
Let's bring it onto the bigger picture now. You have already exceeded your points tally from 2024, 19 this year, 17 last year. When you look at the performance of the car, is that what you've been expecting, that level of performance?
It's always hard to adjudicate a level of performance because it's relative. And so just putting some numbers to that, I think 60 milliseconds separated 5 cars in Q3 last week. The midfield is incredibly tight. So Q1 does not feel comfortable. You're scraping through by about a tenth and a half. It may not even feel comfortable for McLaren. It's just awfully tight now. And so to score those points is I mean, when you say those words, honestly, what it really does to me is I regret last year. It was just a very poor year for us, is how I see it. But I think more importantly, it's a demonstration that we're on a good pathway to improving the car year on year. What's really going to shake out is how all that midfield sort of develops against one another across the next 10 races or so.
You talk about improving the car. Are we seeing an improved Alex Albon this year? He's scored the majority of points for you. He's got through to Q3 at every race so far. Is he a better driver this year than last year?
Yeah, I think undoubtedly. I remember the day I joined. I mean, I've known him since 2016, but the day I joined, I think he'd been through a lot, is probably the polite way of putting it. And you saw a step from him every single year. And this year, he's really not putting a foot wrong. I can't fault anything that he's doing. It's absolutely on the money in terms of delivering. So he knew he had to step up with Carlos in the car, and he has.
Word on Carlos. He spoke yesterday about the difficulties of changing teams, changing power units. What kind of a job do you feel he's done so far this year?
I mean, I've said it already, that there's 2 ways to assess performance of a driver. The first is what they're doing in the car, and it will take him time. Our car has just a very different style of adapting to it than the Ferrari, and he's getting there. I think Japan already was a large step in performance. As I said to everyone else, the last person to win a race is him. He knows how to do this, and he'll be on the money very shortly. In terms of what he's doing, though, even out of the car is faster thanks to the work and the work ethic he's put in and how he really develops with the engineers. And that's why Carlos was my number 1 target. It's because he's absolutely brilliant at developing teams, and he's really already bringing that to the table. And then above that, as you saw, he's a part-time strategist, but quite good in that regard. And part of the reason why we have the point score is thanks to his help supporting Alex.
Have his difficulties been exaggerated by the closeness of the field?
I mean, if you ask, I don't think so. I use relative gaps, as does he. I mean, yes, the difference now is when you're a tenth off, there's 4 cars that shuffle in between the 2, but it's a relative numbers game. I mean, between him and Alex, I don't think there'll be a millisecond to spare when both are on song. And that's what he's reviewing, that's what I'm reviewing as well.
James, thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the interruption, but as you know, I need make this kind of interruptions to not to get video dropped down by the YouTube. And if we came to the Williams, as you know, this press conference was after the FP1, and if you look at the FP2 performance of the Williams, they were just 10th and 11th. I think if they keep going like this also tomorrow to stay with their 2 car in a Q2 and to have a good position for the start, I believe that with the help of Carlos Sainz and with the perfect performance of Alex Albon, they definitely will gain a lot of points in tomorrow's race. And as I said on early videos that we have on our channel, I believe that if Williams keeps going like this for the rest of the season, I'm sorry, if Williams keeps going like this for the rest of the season, I believe that they will be fifth team on the constructor championship with James Vowles last 2 years. They are just doing such an amazing job, and also just they transferred also Carlos Sainz, and they are just let's say becoming everyday amazing team. Let's continue to watch the other team principals.
I'm sure there'll be more questions in a while. Talking of changing teams, Jonathan, let's come to you now. Welcome to the FIA press conference. New team, new role for you this year as well. How are you settling into those two arenas?
Well, actually, I was just saying to the guys before we came in here, it's exciting. I'm re-energized. There's an energy in the company in this transition from Sauber to the Audi Formula One project. I feel like I'm in absolutely the right place, to be honest. My family and we've moved to Switzerland, this amazing country which I've kind of driven through but never stayed in. And honestly, we're making a home for ourselves there. And honestly, I feel very, very at home at Sauber.
You've spent many years observing team principals. How are you approaching the role yourself?
That's a really odd question, if I may say.
Observing the job they do, James. Just how are you approaching the role?
No, I think, I've made, so I started, for those that don't know, I started in Formula One as a mechanic back in 1991. And I forged my own path really since then. I had a decision to make at one point in my career whether I went down the technical route, became more of a sort of chief engineer type role, or whether I would go into management. And I'm a people person. And it's the people that excited me, and it's the working in a team and creating a team that excites me. And I think I've just developed my own techniques for that. And everyone that I see that holds a team principal position seems to do it in a slightly different way. But I think everyone at my level understands what a team involves.
Well, let's talk about the team. What are your first impressions of Sauber?
Honestly, really positive. There's a great energy in the team. There's an excitement about the project moving forwards. Some of these guys will know what it's like to be in a smaller team that's getting bigger. The people there, they look you in the eye. There's an energy which also I'm feeding off. And honestly, it feels like a really great time to be there.
And you come from World Championship winners Red Bull. What are the biggest differences between what you've experienced at Red Bull and what you're seeing now at Sauber in Hinwil?
Well, I think I'm about 2 weeks into the job. I'm trying to use my eyes, ears, and mouth in proportion, which is unusual for me. And I'm just taking on as much information as I can at the moment. I have a plan, and I need to keep referring to that, remember what my views were when I came in. But, largely as I sit here today, I'm just encouraged by the energy and excitement in the organisation.
You have a plan. Have you given the team a goal for this season?
I'm working towards setting my goals and setting my midterm plan, and then looking at long-term planning after that. As you could probably imagine, as I say, 2 weeks into the job, I've spent nearly as much time in the air as I have in the factory. So I'm still listening and learning at the moment.
All right, Jonathan, thank you for that.
Yeah, definitely he will struggle a lot. As you know, last 2 years, the stake Formula One team, they are just struggling a lot. They are fighting even for 1 point. But maybe with Jonathan, they will change something. But as I said in the other videos, they are just focused on the new Audi project, and their idea for this season, I think, is just to make some points and just to focus to develop 2026 car with new regulations, with a new team name, etc. and etc. Let's hope they let's say did a job like they will do the job like Williams to get better and better every single year. But we will see what time will bring to stake Formula One team. Let's continue to watch the rest of the press conference.
I'm sure there'll be more questions for you in a minute. Andrea, thank you for waiting. Come to you now. Been a very strong start to the season for McLaren. You're leading both World Championships. How do you view your advantage over the rest of the field at the moment?
Well, the MCL 39 is certainly a competitive car. Is faster than last year's car that was already fast and reliable. So we needed to embrace some innovation and some courage to some extent to change pretty much the entire car. And I cannot thank enough all the men and women at McLaren that delivered the performance that we gave ourselves as an objective. Having said that, I think the margins are very small. They keep being small. If we look at China in qualifying, it was a bit of a mixed bag. Japan in qualifying, we got beaten. In the race, we got beaten. So I think we have to be quite realistic as to the situation in terms of performance. I hear sometimes talking about dominance, which I think is out of place. I hear talking about dominance sometimes by, pronounced by our competitors. Clearly, everyone knows the game. Everyone knows how to put pressure or attempt to put pressure on the rivals. But we are very grounded people, in fairness. We are very calm, like we're not going to get this kind of bait. We know that we have to work hard to exploit the potential of the MCL 39, and we have to work hard to keep improving the car.
Need to work hard to improve it, but was Suzuka a wake-up call for the team, or was it a specific set of circumstances that resulted in Max Verstappen getting the win?
Yeah, but Tom, in line with what I've just said, we didn't need any wake-up call because we were not sleeping, and certainly we were not dreaming. Like, we were wide awake, knowing that if we don't capitalize on the full performance of the car, then we will be beaten. And if we capitalize, we may win by a very small margin. So for us, this is what we talk in the team. This is the conversations that happen within the team. All the rest, for me, seems to be a bit built up externally, but it doesn't represent what is in the numbers, in our view.
If we listen to some of your rivals, you're going to win this race by a mile here in Bahrain. How confident are you coming into the rest of the weekend?
That's interesting, because my expectation is that Bahrain is the most difficult venue for McLaren of the first part of the season. I think during the test, I'm not sure we have seen that we were enjoying any advantage in terms of first lap. The only thing that we saw is that the car is gentle on the tires, which is a feature we couldn't exploit very much in Suzuka, which was a very low degradation circuit. This one is a high degradation circuit, so if anything, that could be our strength. But to capitalize on this strength, you have to qualify well. You don't have to be stuck in traffic. Like, there's a few things that we need to get right. And yet, in this kind of low-speed dominated configuration, I'm not sure that McLaren will enjoy much advantage at all.
You mentioned qualifying. Lando doing a tremendous job, as he has done for many years now. Oscar, it feels, has stepped up. It was 21-3, the intra-team battle between them last year. Has Oscar stepped up? Has he found more pace over one lap?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we see that Oscar is just more confident in qualifying. He's just more capable of just putting things together. I think he has more awareness, which comes with experience, which comes with even all the analysis that has been going on during the winter. So we see a stronger Oscar, like we see, as usual, a very strong Lando. But for me, again, coming back on the competitiveness of McLaren, what I see, and I still look at quite a lot of telemetry myself, what I see is two drivers that push each other, pick from each other. Like if you see free practice one, they are almost complementary as to where they go fast and slow. So they can see quite a lot of opportunities. And then I see the synergy. And the synergy means an elevation of the game. So for me, that's, if anything, that's what I see that has mostly changed compared to the past, and which is, we can see it as a car performance. But for me, it's the combination of car performance and what the drivers are able to achieve, elevating their own games.
Okay, thank you.
As I said on the early videos on our channel yesterday, I said that the McLarens will dominate. If you have watched actually FP1 and FP2, they are just dominating. I believe that an FP3 also at the qualifying, they will be in the front row. I don't know who will be, but they will be in a front row for the team. They are just doing such an amazing job, and like they just had the dream start for the season, the start that just wanted to start the season like this. And I definitely, I don't want to say definitely, but there is a big chance if happens nothing unusual, they are going to win Sunday's race. And just I wanna say to Andrea Stella, congratulations to him. He's doing actually amazing job at McLaren, and he just built amazing team with Zach Brown. Let's continue to watch the let's say interesting questions of the journalists.
For that, thanks to all three. Let's now open this to the floor. Who's first, please? Christian.
Christian Mehnert, motorsportmagazin.com. Question for you, Andrea. You explained after Japan why you did the strategy you did. So without going into any specifics there, do you think, first part of the question, do you think at some point of the season it's more about being a bit more aggressive on the strategy side and not so conservative? And on the other side, people were saying that McLaren had it easy because it was two McLaren versus one Red Bull. But do you think on the other side it could be even more difficult for you, this situation, because you do not only have two McLaren versus one Red Bull, but you also have Oscar versus Lando in the championship?
In terms of the race in Suzuka, like always, we took a good look at where the opportunities could be to win the race. I think the opportunities, if anything, were identified in the early phase of the race, where we could have been potentially more aggressive in attempting to undercut Max. This would have not been executed without a significant amount of risks of going in traffic at a circuit in which you have no tire degradation and difficulties to overtake. It could have gone pretty wrong in case of a safety car, and in an attempt to win, you may lose a few positions. So it's the normal kind of trades-off that you have when you manage race strategy, but we need to be wary that Suzuka in 2025 wasn't the usual Suzuka. I think many people who make comment, I think, struggle to realize that it's a different context. Anyhow, we looked open-minded, and like I say, potentially the opportunity was in this early stage of the race. When it comes to having two McLarens up there, does it increase the complexity? Yes. Does it increase the opportunity? Yes. And we worked hard to have these opportunities in terms of having multiple cars, two cars that can win races, and also making sure that we can have two drivers that are in contention for both championships.
Thank you, Andrea. Okay, next one.
Niharika from Sportscator. A question for Andrea. Lando mentioned that his focus this weekend is to concentrate on developing a good feeling with the MCL 39. Where exactly has it gone away from him, or where exactly is he uncomfortable with the car? And what are his struggles exactly when it comes to getting a good feeling with that car?
Yes, actually you are right. I think on Lando's side there's especially a particular phase of driving the car that doesn't make him entirely comfortable. I think we achieved a very good understanding of what that is. It would be inappropriate that I share the details, but let me say that even for this race we have made some adjustments to the car, going back to some solutions that we think may improve the predictability of the car in relation to Lando's driving input. So it's actually an interesting weekend even from this point of view, and we look forward to see what we will learn.
Thank you for that. Adam.
Adam Cooper, everyone. For all three of you, obviously there's a lot of talk about 2026 at the moment. What are your simulations telling you about the cars and the power units? What kind of racing are we going to see? What concerns do you have about that package?
James, why don't we start with you?
I mean, it's early days because we're still developing the car and the wind tunnel. It's only been in for a few months now, but I'm not seeing quite the perhaps the stark concerns that are coming out of other corners. For us, the racing looks actually pretty good at the moment. I think it'd be pretty good from a spectator perspective. I think the wake is better. I think the following will be better. So I'm not overly concerned at the moment. The biggest thing I probably have is that the weight target. It's a good idea to reduce the weight. I think that's a tough call for all teams, but that's about it. That's the only thing that's coming out of our simulations.
Thanks, James. Jonathan, anything?
You'll probably appreciate that as I was leaving my last company, I wasn't heavily involved in the development of the 26 car, and I haven't really had that come across my desk yet here. I mean, what I would say, because the whole subject's being discussed at the moment, is that there was I think I understand, a very open and productive and collaborative discussion today with all the major stakeholders. From what I understand, it's got the best interest in Formula One at heart, and that was the basis of the entire conversations. And it was certainly the feedback I've had was very encouraging. I mean, what I would say, just talking about 2026, is that it's very clear Audi's position. The reason they've got involved in the sport is the excitement around the three pillars that we see as really important. The first one being a highly efficient engine, the second one being an advanced hybrid system, and of course sustainable fuels being the bedrock of that.
Thank you. Andrea?
Just I would like to, if anything, emphasize the point that Jonathan made about the interest of the sport. I think when we talk about future regulations, you know, we haven't even started the 2026 and we are already talking about something else. Like, I think I would like to invoke a sense of responsibility by all the stakeholders, because we are here to protect the interests of the sport. I wouldn't want that we undermine what could be actually successful regulations. They may need some tuning and adjustments, but that's what we are here for. Let's define exactly the technical challenge and we can resolve it, but let's all work united, collaboratively towards the interest of the sport, which comes when we have a good product. And I think we can have a good product in 26. We just have to work towards it.
Thanks all. All right, next please. Yeah, Ed.
Ed Straw from the race. One for you, Jonathan. Obviously, you've had one whole weekend to see how the team operates. But when it comes to the kind of operational side, track side, which obviously is an area you're very experienced in, what did you see, particularly from last week? Where do you see the level is? How do you benchmark where this team is compared to your previous team, which obviously set the standards, whether that's comparing it to where that team is now or perhaps where that team was when you first joined as well in terms of the improvement? How long is it going to take to raise Sauber up to that standard and beyond?
Well, first of all, it's an interesting question. Obviously, it's a question I've been asking myself before I joined the team, and taking on the learnings from the first race. I mean, what I would have to say, I even arrived at that race a little bit later than I would have done normally. Didn't really have time to immerse myself, and I've kind of given myself a target of the first three races that I'm with the team. It's a triple header. It's very, very interesting how a team performs over a triple header, whether there's accident damage, how you recover from that, fatigue, and you get a really good picture of how a team operates at the end of that period. And I really am trying to not jump to any conclusions. I'm using a lot of pen ink at the moment, making notes, trying to put those notes into some kind of thing. But what, I'll say that I'm encouraged with the openness and the willingness to learn that I've experienced in the team so far, and the positive energy. I mean, this is, it's a people business. And if you don't have that creative energy, if you don't have that energy, then you're not going to keep moving forward, which of course is our plan. Our plan is just keep building on these little bits of momentum that we pick up that you probably can't even pick up on, because it's not all about on-track performance.
Thank you, Jonathan. Who's next? Ian. Yeah. Ian Parks, Racing News 365. Another question for yourself, Jonathan. You worked obviously alongside one of the foremost team principals of the past 2 decades. What have you learned from him that will stand you in good stead going forward in your new role now?
I think I've learned from everybody that I've worked with in this business over the last 34 years. So I wouldn't focus particularly on one individual, because there's a learning exercise in this job every single day. And I've been open to learning, open to listening, watching how people react, and people that you respect and people that you've worked for a long time. I worked at the last team for 19 years. I want to be my own team principal. I want to lead the team along with Mattia in my own way. And I've always been pretty sure of my own thoughts and my own views. I have a plan for how we can start this transformation journey and carry the momentum through it. And I'll keep referring to it, but it's about the people in the team, and that's my focus.
Thank you, Jonathan. Luke.
Luke Smith from The Athletic. For all three of you, we got news yesterday that Robert Reid had resigned as the Deputy President of Sport for the FIA. He cited a governance crisis. How concerned are you by current goings-on at the FIA?
James, why don't we start with you?
Thank you. So I knew Robert well, and I think he's a good individual. He's clearly understands sport and where we are. I can't comment on why because it wasn't detailed inside his note either, particularly why and what concerns he had in that regard. That's something that is very much between him and what happened in the FIA. What I can say is this: we need arbitration, but the key behind all of this is that we all have the same goal, which is the best interest of the sport. What we need is a sport that fundamentally is moving forward in harmony with one another. And there's bits of it that aren't quite where they need to be at the moment, but that just needs to be resolved through conversation. With Robert, though, I wish him all the best. As I say, he's a brilliant character.
Thank you. Jonathan, please.
I think I would just say it looks like it's a private matter being dealt with in public. I don't have any comment on it, much like I wouldn't like the FIA to comment on how I run my team.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. Share exactly what James and Jonathan said.
Okay, thanks all.
John the race. To Jonathan, you've come from decades of experience in British racing teams and at the heart of British Motorsport Valley. You've gone to a Swiss team that's been by itself in kind of Switzerland for 30 years. It's about to become a German car manufacturer works team. What are the complications in kind of marrying all these cultures up, and what identity kind of are you looking for this team to have going forwards?
Well, as you say, it's simple. No, it's part of the challenge, part of the fun and the excitement I have around starting this new role at this new team. What I found is at the moment, I'm not seeing any issues in terms of the language of the team, the way people are getting on. There's an openness to learning. I'm going to try to learn German, but I don't want anyone testing me on that in the short term, please. It's part of the challenge of the role. And as you know, we're looking to expand our horizons a little bit. As a team, you're right, it's a small team that's in the transition phase to becoming a fully fledged Formula One team. There's a myriad of projects that we need to get right, and one of those is meshing the people together. And as a team, we need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because change is coming. And we have to be at the forefront of that, and we need to have a clear roadmap as to where we're headed, and I believe we're on that roadmap at the moment.
Thank you, Jonathan. Who's next? Yeah, Stu.
Sorry, I was just taking the notes down of that on my notebook.
It's fine. You can make notes in your notebook. I assume there's an inside joke in regards to that, but anyway.
You always do, James.
You do.
And actually, my question was for you, just kind of on the back of that question. You talked about Carlos and the positive influence he's had on the team. How do you actually manage the introduction of a change agent when you have sort of an established way of doing things? You bring someone in from outside who has new ideas. How do you balance those new ideas and the quality of them?
It's a good question, as much as what I think we've created in Williams across the last 12 months is, we've grown by something like 300 people. We've brought in expertise from pretty much every team on the grid. And one of the things we've been good at doing is creating a culture of acceptance that we are not world champions, and we have not been world champions for 20 years. And therefore, every opinion has, or every individual has a voice at the table. It's a flat structure. I believe that everyone has the potential to have ideas that will move us forward. And Carlos is no different to that. He fits into that structure really well. He doesn't have any politics in him whatsoever at all. He just wants the team to be quicker. And for that matter, Alex does too in that regard. So I haven't actually had to do a tremendous amount apart from that initial almost laying the law down that we are not world championship material. And by the way, even if we were and we were winning races, you can still be learning, and you have to outlearn your rivals. You have to outdevelop your rivals. And so that culture is fundamental to a successful racing team in my experience. But as I say, what really helps with it is that Carlos just has a manner to him that is constructive. It's not about him, it's about, if we do this, we will find performance together, and that brings everyone on the journey.
Thank you, James. Luke, back to you.
Luke Smith from The Athletic. Andrea, a question for you. You talked about the possible aggression you could have done with strategy in Suzuka. Lando spoke yesterday about his approach to risk, and obviously in a championship fight that does change a little bit. How have you changed your approach to risk compared to previous years? Do you sort of have the long game a bit more in mind now you're at the very forefront of the field?
If we use Suzuka as an example, I don't think we would have approached that race very differently if it was located in a different time of the season, unless, let's say, it's the last race of the season and, like championships are decided, then you may go for a very aggressive one. And, okay, let's try to win. It can go very wrong. Obviously, at the start of the season, you don't approach things like this. But in general, I would like to stress that the downsides of an aggressive strategy in that case could have been quite considerable. So, yeah, there's a bit of influence, if you want, of being at the start of the season and let some races unfold, learn a bit more, but not substantial.
Thanks, Andrea. Yeah, Jonathan.
Jonathan raised another one for Andrea. Looking back at Suzuki, you've talked about the benefits of both drivers pushing each other on, and it's great for the team, it's great for the Constructors' Championship. But do you think there are downsides from having to treat two drivers fighting equally for the championship when it comes to races? And are you prepared for the day where you might have to make a call that's going to favour one of them in a bid to win a race and the other one's going to be upset?
I can't exclude that this may happen. Like I said before, there's advantages of having two extremely competitive drivers. I think the advantage in the long term is dominant. Like, that's what you want, in my view. But there could be episodically some situations which may leave one of the two drivers a little upset because the team needed to make a decision or because of how the race unfolded. So we are very, very aware of this. And, like internally, we don't talk if this happens. We talk when this happens, because we are aware it's a very difficult business. We are aware as a team, and Lando and Oscar as well.
Thank you. If we're quick, no? Okay, we'll leave it there. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Yeah, we are at the end of the team principal press conference. A lot of questions, but at least not stupid questions, interesting questions. Because of that, I just didn't want to interrupt too much in every single questions, because also for me it just looked so interesting, and I just didn't want to interrupt it. We just want one thing from you. Don't forget to like it, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And just quick reminder that we will have the FP2 interviews on our channel for a couple of minutes. Don't forget to like the video, comment it, and subscribe to the channel one more time.